Hi, NK, can you hear me? Right, so am I being recorded as well? Live stream. Am I being recorded? Live stream. All right, great. So what are we doing today, man? Oh, great. Awesome. How long ago did my 2018 come out? Oh, right.
Is my audio clear?
Yeah, audio's clear enough, yeah.
Okay. So there've been leaks about it, and
Right.
I actually there's a lot of nice jokes here, but there are
Right.
some things that still bothers me about it. Like this, like this. If you use the default stuff, then you have the caps on. If you have the caps on,
Right.
and you scroll through the default stuffs. Let me turn the caps on so that you can see on the extrude.
Right.
When I come down here and turn what's it
Yeah.
called? The faces on, sorry. You find out that
Right.
everything seems to work fine. I think what they were going with this is some sort of procedural nature, that you can have different types of objects and it still retains the same thing. But where I have a
Right.
problem with it is when you turn off the faces. Once you just turn the face off, once
Right.
you turn the face off, you begin to see all these things like the normal isn't going towards the right direction, and then your face to face under here becomes hollow.
Okay.
I don't know if it's a bug from them because obviously it
Yeah,
looks like one, but
it's
these are
coming a few
things I
days
think they
ago.
should have taken their time to fix.
It's coming a few days ago, so I might just overlook it. It could be a bug in
I guess it's a bug. But even at that, I still feel like there are certain things Autodesk should have outgrown by now. If they wanted to do something that was procedural, I guess they should have done something way, way procedural, or something that would have just solved a lot of problems. Because having this, even in their own native extrude, it's problematic.
Right.
It's problematic.
Well, on that point, just quickly, people might be watching from wherever it is, or they might watch later on. This is Anselm Nkoro. That's him. He's a proud member, I believe, of the Animation West Africa Network, and it's he's bringing us today a quick live stream. We're just doing a quick test thing, but to make it real, we're now actually going into the real thing. So obviously we're far away from each other, but I think this is going good. And I am me myself, Sen Debo, um, the chief servant for every one of Animation West Africa Network and the industry in West Africa as a whole. I'm glad to serve anyone when I have to do. So we're gonna see what he's got to show us today. It's gonna be a short one, I think.
Yeah, it's
Just
going to be a very
to
short one.
show us today, and then we can go on and feature our streams much more and do something on a weekly basis with him or with somebody else. But I need to also mention, guys, we're doing this right but on Facebook and on YouTube at the same time. We're streaming. That's what the test we've been doing for a few hours before now. Me and him have been together, the behind the scene works things that we do. So finally, we're streaming live on the Facebook, the page, and on YouTube right away. And you're gonna see the name. If you go to the AWA TV channel, you see the white and blue logo, the blue background and the white text AWA TV. It says Maya 2018 New Primitive. That's what the topic is. So whichever way you go, I challenge you to subscribe on that YouTube one and help us grow, and also share and the whole thing. But I'm gonna shut up right now and let him carry on with what he's trying to sure, while I'm here, and we could chat, we could talk, we could chat along the line, and then with the music you're gonna hear. So over
Okay.
to you now, carry on.
Okay. So, like I was saying, this I think this is a problem. This is a problem they should fix. This is a problem I think they should fix. And some other things I
Okay.
found out that is,
Is
despite
that the
this,
flip normals going on there? Is
sir,
that flip normals or what? Is that flipped normals going there or what? What
I
is it?
I actually don't know what is going what's going on here. The edges are hard, and it's not like they don't
And
have
how the
this. Let me try some. Oh my goodness, I think it's a problem with either the problem is with the extrude. It's either that the problem is with the extrude or the problem is with the whole geometry. But I also noticed that there was an update they made for the extrude, and I also noticed that even on the update they made for the extrude for 2018, there is a big bug. There's a bug. Let me point that out to everyone that will be watching later on now. You
the
know,
thing I've noticed in the past when I was involved in the hands-on thing is I always get that kind of surfacing when there are two flat surfaces, two planes
hmm
merged together as one, and then you don't know. That was when I was working more in lightweight. When two planes are together as one as a surface, and you don't know, you just think it's one surface you're dealing with. Then you always have that thing. We call it like artifact or something. You always have that thing. But in this case, I think it's not. It's
no,
not the same issue going on. So
I don't think it's the same
yeah,
issue going on here. I don't think it's the same issue going on. You know, in the new update they made, I mean, in this new release, they added this shift function that's existed in Max for a long time. That you can do this kind of extrude. I think I made a
right.
video about it, and you can do extrudes like this. But now, one of the things that they did that's a bug for me is when you do this and you tap the T key. The T key is
Right.
more like the key that brings up the options.
Hmm.
This is what happens.
Okay. Well.
It kind of distorts it. So let me turn this down and see. And if you try to add divisions to it, it becomes a nightmare of its own. It's a whole nightmare of its own. So let me say I'm adding like 3, oh 2, and this is what you get. If I make this 4, it spoils the whole thing. Now, previously, before they had to add this stuff to it, previously, if you just did the extrude by, like if you just did extrude by default,
Right.
and you did this, let me recreate what I did earlier one more time. And this, what you what you get is different. Oh, sorry. See, offset. Let me make this 2. Funny enough, I think it's a big problem with all of this release. I think it's a problem with this release. I think
Okay.
it's a big problem with this release. Let me try this and make the division, let's say 3. So I think it's a problem with the release, I guess. It's a problem with it. So let me go ahead and do something else and see if it's sorry, if it's just me or if it's okay. I'm doing this and I'm tapping this. I'm putting division of 3 and we have that problem. So I think it's a problem, it's a bug they have to fix. I really think it's a bug they have to fix. If you use the default one and do this, sorry. If you use the default and do this and you make this division 3, it stays. But if you use the new whatever they did, if you use the new stuff they did and
Right.
say this and you make this division 3, see,
Okay.
it
It
breaks.
turns it
It
to
breaks. It's one of the bugs I found out, and
What is that? That's from the T when you hit the T hotkey.
Yeah,
The
that
T.
should be exactly.
Right.
That's from the T hotkey because they actually made this T hotkey that once you create a geometry or you create something in Maya, once you type T, whatever you're working with, it just brings up the options for you. So instead of always shipping around here, which is the attribute or the channel editor,
Right.
you can just simply do that here.
Is that not similar to when you hit the N in Blender?
Yeah, I think it's more like that. I think it's more like
Right.
that. So let me make this one and make this one. This is like what the T key does. So I can go ahead and do whatever I want, and I can come back and be like, okay, and tap it again and make this 10 and make this 10. And you can go ahead and change how much you want this thing to change. A lot of people haven't known how to use this yet, and most of them don't even see it. It's actually the drag speed. So you can, if I push a little bit, it goes that much. If you reduce if you reduce it to a tiny dot like this, it goes slowly. This is a copy from Houdini. So anyone who has had the chance to use Houdini before will tell you that it's exactly a copy from Houdini. Let me show you guys how that works. If I put up a box here in Houdini and I open this, watch what happens. This happens, it makes it, this scales it a bit bigger, this scales it smaller by every unit from 100 down to 0.1. So if I use this, I scale smaller. If I use this, I scale a lot bigger. Let me zoom out because this is going to be bigger. And if I use this, it's a lot more bigger. So I think that was what they were trying to replicate. And this is quite tinier, and this, and this, and this, and this. So I think that was what they were trying to create with this stuff. But a lot of people didn't get to notice it, and so I think I don't know, and they don't even talk about it. So it's a problem for me. We shouldn't have this since no one uses it. We shouldn't have that. Okay, so let me go ahead with the other ones. I've
Right.
looked at the disk. This is the Platonic solid. So this Platonic solid, like I said, I think they created this stuff so that it can be procedural, but the idea they came up with is not so okay. I mean, it's not so cool by me. So from this Platonic solid, if you can change it to tetrahedron, and you can change it to this. Let me actually change my background so that it's going to be visible. You can change it to that. You can increase the radius, which I don't see why they are putting this, because you can always scale that. You can make a spherical inflation. We might not see this until I increase the subdivision level later. You can change it to quads, you can change it to pi and this. You can change it to a cube. You can change it to this. You can change it to this other one, funny names. And finally, we can change it to this. Now, the idea with these guys is from quads, you can move from quads to triangles, from triangles to pies, like this, and from pi to caps. I think that's the original idea. So you can move, this is where the spherical inflation works. You can go ahead and do something like this. The only cool thing about this particular primitive is, I think it retains it once it's this. It doesn't behave like the disk. So it retains it, and I think it's cool. You can change this and it still retains it, which is cool. Which is really cool. This is cool. Okay, so if you try this other stuff, it works as well. It doesn't. My goodness. It doesn't offset. I think there's a big problem with I actually think that there's a big problem with the Extrude. I think there's a big problem with the extrude. The only time this extrude is going to work per face, it doesn't even offset. So the only time I think it will work per face, let me set this back to 1, is when you turn it off. So it doesn't extrude the whole thing. And I don't know why. It just thickens it. You don't, I mean, when you're doing the extrude, it doesn't really do the whole offset thing. So, let me punch the thickness of it. Nice. Thank you. Thank you, Mara. Okay. My big guess is that these guys most probably they were under pressure to release stuff and they just had to release this crap out.
Then they want to fix it up later on or start.
Yeah. But another thing I said in like in the previous video is I think they were very busy fixing bugs that they didn't really think about what they should fix for the new release, because the new release is totally empty except for all these primitives which are not really stable, which are not they're beautiful, don't get me wrong, but they're not so stable. Let me put this
Right.
in. Okay, so let's look at the gear. This one breaks my heart a bit. The gear is good. The gear is really good. The gear is so good. You can increase the number of gears you want, but then you can only stop at 20. This is where I have a problem with this. You can only stop at 20. So what if we want to get 30? You can type that in, but it doesn't allow you to use the slider to increase it. So I think there is a sort of restriction with this. Let's say 50. You can type that in, but you can't do that with the slider. Each time you use the slider, it resets back to 20. So I think this is also another big bug they need to fix. I think it's a bug they need to fix. The radius from here, it works as well. The internal radius works as well. It's good. The height works. It's good. Looks like some procedural stuff. That looks nice. But then there's let's go on. There's a height division. There's a gear spacing, which works. There's an offset that works. There's a gear tip that works. There's a gear middle that works. There's a gear twist, and finally the taper that works. So what is my problem with this? My big problem with this, my reaction to this particular stuff is, what happens here? What if I want to increase the number of what's it called? What if I want to increase the edge flow here? You can't do that. And then if they really wanted us to have this thing as a procedural stuff, there is actually something I expect from them. I expect us to have something something that is really, how should I say, really fun to work with. What does this remind me of? It reminds me of of the gear that exists in ZBrush. Let me open that. Now we have this stuff called the gear in ZBrush. This is the gear in ZBrush. If you open ZBrush for the first time and you find, and you go through this
Looks like the samurai, the samurai stars, the Chinese kung fu guys.
Yeah, it looks like it. It's quite funny looking though, but it's nice. It works. It works. What I'm proposing that Maya should have done was they should have given us controls like this. I know not a lot of people really use this stuff, but give us a control, give us something like this.
Okay, I see what's doing there.
See? You can create interesting shapes with this. We don't have coverage like this. We don't have this kind of coverage. If it's procedural and it doesn't do this, it only reminds me of Illustrator. Yeah. Yeah. Like it's the best app in the world for doing stuff, and yet it doesn't do some stuff Inkscape and CorelDRAW does.
Yeah, well, I'm using Escape anyway. That's my
Yeah, you know, it's the most amazing vector app ever. But some stuff CorelDRAW and Inkscape do without blinking, they had to wait till 2017 to fix it. Okay, so the we don't have this kind of coverage. We don't have this. Uh, We have something that looks like that, but it's not it. It's not it. And this is skew. This is not actually what I'm. This is not actually what I'm looking forward to. But something like this would be nice. Give us this room to create what we want, and not confine us to that uh, to the parameters that they have there. Um, we can also have something that has to do with the out section like this. You can be like, you want to create your own stuff and create something like this. We don't have that. We don't really have that. So you just create exciting looking stuff like this. And at the same time, this works. This works. By every definition, this works. You know,
absolutely.
even the
So
inner.
what do you reckon with
Sir,
what do you reckon with Autodesk? So what do you reckon with Autodesk? When how often do they release the updates and all?
the updates they could release one before September ends. They could actually release an emergency update depending on what people say.
Yeah.
They can release an emergency update to fix bugs and stuff. They can also release another one, let's say by December. They can also release another one. Like the last one, they released like 3 updates, and that was like so much. That was so much. What I really like about the only two things I like about the other one, like I said in the previous video, was I only like the fact that they worked on the UI. I mean the UV editor. So we have a UV toolkit now, and also they worked on what's it called? They added one extra mesh node called mesh dynamics. That's just the only thing. That's just the only thing. You know? Despite that, we don't have nada. We have nothing. There was nothing they added to this new release. So this is one of the things I wish we had that we don't. So the gear is off. Let's look at this one. There's this there's this one here, which a lot of people are actually crazy about, and I'll tell you why. The only thing that's making them crazy about this thing is this. This.
Okay.
This is the only thing that's making them crazy.
Yeah, it looks pretty. Yeah.
It looks cool. Everybody says it looks cool.
It looks a bit dense populated though.
Mm-hmm. But then, when you go ahead and open this, you have no idea. Let's play with this and see. You have no idea what to do with the remaining of this. I think this is these are just parameters that you would never use. These are just parameters that you would never use. I'm a Maya fanboy, don't get me wrong, but there are things that they do I don't like. Like this, it doesn't work. What's the work of this ellipse 2? No one knows. You use ellipse 0. That's cool. Harmonic doesn't have a role here. It doesn't have a role here. Ultra doesn't have a role here. Doesn't have a role here. Mirror. Oh, okay. So mirror up and down. Let's see that. Turn mirror off. Turn mirror off. And turn mirror back on. Mirror off, mirror on, mirror off, mirror on. Okay? Ultra mirror doesn't have a job here. This is to reduce the size of this. Okay? Merge vertex. How in God's name are we going to use this? for rigging, like rig controls. No way. This doesn't have a job here. 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 So I think what they did was they packed chunk of unused and unusable stuff and packed them into one place. Now, this all these parameters we have here, all of them, they belong to this shape. And all of the parameters we have from here to here, they belong to this shape. But my question is why will they put all of them together since they don't do the same thing? I mean, we understand when we have a cylinder, we understand that okay, this is a cylinder and this is all the parameters you need for a cylinder. Why put parameters you don't need here? If I come here, I'm going to see this ellipse 1 and I still don't have an idea what ellipse 1 is. And it's not like when you tap the T key, the parameters come up. I still don't know why people are excited about this new primitive, but okay. So let's look at this one. This is nice. This is nice. Anyone who has done something with what's it called, with blend shapes and soft selection will understand what's going on here, you know. And if you've had the chance to do to add attributes to your stuff, you understand what's going on here. Okay, so we have this one and we have this. I think these are just chunks of blend shapes running in the background. I think these are just chunks of blend shapes running in the background. Let's see. This is cool. This is cool. This is cool. Let's look at this other one. Nothing goes on here. This could be good for some more graph sort of stuff. You know, well, I don't know where this applies, but I know it could be good for some more graph. But then after this, and yes, why is it what's so hard for them to name these things? I see harmonics 0, harmonics 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, and I have no idea what control I am using. It doesn't have a name. I don't even know what I'm going to do with either of them. I just know I'm playing with these things and I don't know where it's. Oh, this is good. And I don't know where it's leading. And welcome to the flip normal. They couldn't fix it. They couldn't fix it. If this was some app like Cheetah 3D or Wings 3D or say Lightwave or some apps people don't really care about that much, I would say okay, fine.
Well,
yeah.
You gotta hold up. You gotta hold up there. I started in Lightwave, man.
Yeah, I mean, Lightwave has really developed over the years, but I'm saying if
Lightwave is about I don't know. People say what's the other one? I forgot the name. But for me, Lightwave is about the easiest tool to learn modeling with, personally. And then Lightwave has become a fork in model.
Okay.
So if you know Lightwave, you know model to basic extent, you know. So is it Rhino or what that someone said was about the easiest in their opinion?
Rhino is easy when you're doing something like product design because you work with just knobs.
Right. Anyway, before you start knocking Lightwave, man, it's where I started from.
Okay.
I could model while I was sleeping in Lightwave. You know, it's come from Lightwave to a tiny bit of my or I think Maya was like the first, but Lightwave was a real thing to blend along the line to soft XSI before it became soft image.
Mm-hmm.
That's the years ago. XSI then turned to soft image and stuff. Yeah, they work with soft image a little bit, but for me, it was Lightwave those days. And one thing I loved so much in Lightwave was called spin quad. Was it shift something? I forgot the hotkey. Yeah, the spin quad when it's like a mini retopple thing
Okay.
when your edges when your flows are not going and they're like looking crazy, and you hit that shift or something, that spin code, and it just flips them like you select a few polygon and spin coat them and flip them till they look normal, they look right,
Nice.
and the flow is going correctly. And it was awesome for me, to know that too. And as far back as then
Mm-hmm.
was when this viewport render, it was really developing or advanced a bit in Lightwave those days. Viewport render, where that was Worley F Prime. That was the plugin we're using. WHORLEY F Prime. I remember everything now, like I made it like yesterday, but
It's
F
nostalgic.
Prime was it.
Wow.
Say what?
I mean, you're having that nostalgic feel of flip of.
Yeah, just coming and F Prime, which is basically, and it was live report live rendering basically as you're working like as the what's the now is the evil word, the evil word
Mm-hmm.
in Blender, like and then Max also has its own. I forgot what the name is, but as you're
Is it the
working and
nitro stuff?
say again.
Is it the nitro viewport that comes with Max recently?
I think so. I don't know so much about Max. I just fiddled with it but briefly, but nothing deep. Or not even recent, even as far back as a long time ago. But Lightwave F Prime was absolutely the king those
I
days, in
think
my
that
opinion.
was
So again, all of these things I'm saying is just to tell you that please don't bash Lightwave. Don't.
I'm actually
Don't.
not bashing it. I'm saying if a company like Lightwave gave out something like this, people would say, okay, fine. The guy is working there because a couple of people that were using Lightwave, they practically moved to model. The same,
Right.
they use the same functions. It's like
It's the same
working in
function
model as
basically.
well.
Yeah, that's it. The same functions. The only thing that's different is that Lightwave had it had its own two ports basically, two viewports basically. I forgot the name now. The one where you model from
Mm-hmm.
and the one where you take it over for animation. What's the name now? Come on, it's been a while. So you model somewhere.
Workspace.
No, they have their names. Two different. I'll remember in a moment. But well, carry on. I'll
Okay.
remember in a second. Carry on. Yeah.
Okay. So, like, is it layout or something? Okay. So, like this other one, what I'm looking at is this.
Yes. Layout. That's true.
Yeah.
Layout. Carry on. I remember just now. Just carry on.
Okay. So, my problem with this one is my problem is with this particular one is I the same problem I have with harmonics. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what parameter this is. I just know it's 8. I know this is 7. I know this is 10. 9, sorry. I wish they added a name tag to these things. It would have been very easy. It would have been very fun. I also think that why they did these things is because of the new mash they have. That's my own perception. If anyone thinks otherwise, I think it's because of the mash. I think it's because of the mash actually. Yeah. See, I don't know what I'm going to. I have to win by failing. I have to learn by failing and failing and failing. I don't know what 13 does. It doesn't have a name tag, so I don't know what 13 does. And one other thing I also feel is maybe this is going to sound like a joke, but I think I think the guy that was responsible for this actually retired or resigned because only God knows why they have to ship this out like this. I'm scared of using all these parameters because I don't know what they do.
I remember it. It was basically the modeler
Mm-hmm.
and the layout, which I said earlier on. So the one where you model from a straight is called the modeler. Then
Okay,
once you're done with the modeler and everything, then you export it to the layout.
I
So it
see.
had basically two different windows. Then on the layout is where you begin to start doing all the modeler is just basically to model.
Okay,
Layout is you could model in layout, I understand, but it's not meant for modeling. So it's really a pain. So when you get to layout, that's where you do all your other stunts, your other animation and whatever it is. Even though at that time we weren't really animating in lightweight, we're using Messiah, a different animation plugin.
yeah.
But
I think
yeah,
Modbox, not Modbox, Motion Builder actually knocked it out because
all right,
Motion Builder is more like industry standard these days.
all right,
Okay, so if we click on this one, like we did previously, there's one
yeah,
I actually left out. Not this. Sorry about that. They come with notes. I mean, this particular one comes with notes. So when you right click, you can bring up the prism, which I still have no idea why they did this. This is more like you having a box and splitting it in half. Oh, oh, nice. It's still the same thing. We've seen this before. And subdivision. So I don't know why they had to create that. Pipe. I don't know why they also had to create this one. Let me quickly hide this stuff. This is more like a tube. I guess a lot of people or anyone who has been using 3D Studio Max or Blender for a while or any app at all is going to be laughing so hard right now. It will be laughing. I'm telling you, honestly, the new geometries are so bad. They're so bad. They're so bad that I mean they are not supposed to put this bracket on them. We're just supposed to be like, oh, it's there already. You know, they're making us feel like it wasn't there, and now we know. And I don't know what goes on around here. Let me actually turn off my AO and all this. You see, there's a normal issue happening here.
I think you got a question on you got a question on the YouTube page
Okay,
on the YouTube live stream.
okay. He said his array sample. He said, what are you modeling? We are just going through. We're just going through the new Maya 2018 primitives.
Sweet.
Okay. Okay. So we're just going through them. So I think if we look, we see we have a normal issue here. I don't know what this is exactly because I turned round cap on. So if I turn it off,
Mhm.
it goes out. It goes out. This is a cylinder, and I don't know why they had to create a cylinder again. So I don't know why they had to create this. Welcome to 3D Studio Max. This is 3D Studio Max. Welcome to 3D Studio Max. Now, I believe a lot of people in the community now would laugh their head out. I know one guy, for example.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Of course, I know he's going to laugh. He's going to be like, ha 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 ha.
His
2018
name
happened.
starts with his normal name starts with N followed by W,
Mm-hmm.
but his other stunt name starts with T
Of
followed
course.
by O. And
Yeah, we know
I
him.
know who you're talking about.
Of course.
He's a troublemaker like that.
He's the best guy ever.
Yeah, he's a troublemaker like that, and I know where he lives.
Okay. So this is I'm actually feeling like I'm going to 3D Studio Max right now. I'm actually
Yeah,
feeling like
Max is.
yeah,
Let's look for trouble. Max is rubbish. Let's look for trouble.
I actually feel like I'm in 3D Studio Max right now. You know, I don't know what they're doing. As I last the last release, I was so happy that Max was becoming Maya, and now I don't know what to believe anymore. So I think we've seen the gear, we've seen the helix, and finally the soccer ball.
Right.
Okay, so let's look at the
Yeah,
soccer ball.
it's about
Um,
time that we find up soon anyway.
yeah, so we're almost really out of time. So this is the soccer ball, and I still don't see a reason why they should put it here. They should have just added this feature here.
What
They should
one?
have just added this feature here. Like like they should have added this. Like when you select this, the sphere you can choose and not make a noise about it. So I don't see a reason why we have this. The only cool thing about this, which wouldn't sound cool to anyone who has used Max before,
Right.
is that sorry. Oh shoot, this doesn't work. Okay. Is that you can actually play with it doesn't work. It doesn't work. I was thinking it works. It doesn't work. It simply doesn't work. It's either it doesn't work or I did something wrong. Okay. So let's try to offset this. Oh yeah. So this is going to be cool for people in Maya. So if your primary app is Maya, if you don't know any other app except Maya, then your Cinema 4D friends will be laughing very hard right now. You know?
Hmm.
Yeah. So this is it. This is how far it goes. There is no special thing about the new primitives in Maya. Okay. Except for the fact that you can create this. And where did I see this before? I saw this in 3D Max. If I can remember very well, I saw this in cinema, and I think I'm not so sure if this exists in. I'm not so sure if this exists in Houdini. You can check that. You can check that. I'm not so sure if it exists in Houdini, but maybe it does. Maybe it does. Maybe it doesn't. Could be this. Maybe it doesn't. No. No, I doubt. No, it doesn't. So that's another saving grace. It doesn't exist here. It doesn't exist here. So, but I'm very sure it exists in other 3D apps as well. So this is how far it all goes. I actually don't see anything so exciting about this new app, this new update. Actually, don't see anything so exciting about it. So these are the best shapes I can come up with, and one flip normal, which they don't seem to care about. And like I said earlier, all these ones, when you normally by default, when you turn on, when you select them and tap T, you should be able to, like this normal primitive, I should be able to scale around, like increase the height and increase the width. But these ones, you can't do that. You can't do that anymore. And it bothers me. It bothers me in whole that we can't do that. Okay. So this is my review what I think, what my impression is about the new Maya 2018 primitives. So if anyone has any comments, you can put it down below. Like this video if you like it, share it with your friends if you want them to see what you've seen. This is Animation West Africa. Subscribe and follow for more updates because there's more there's more from where this is coming from.
Right. Well, I mean, on that note, I'd like to say thank you so much to you for this started, like I said earlier on. This started like a test, basically, trying to figure out. We had an intention to do a live stream. We've done in the past, but it was just me only speaking. But now to have a collab with somebody else, is putting things together. No, and so we had the intention for a live stream, like you said to me this morning, and we just got open broadcast studio set up. You had it already. I've had it in the past. I removed it. I put it back on my system. I'm a Linux user, and yeah, and then we started a couple of tests, and we spent quite a few hours on this, you know. And there we are. After a few hours of trial and error and whatever, let's do this and like streaming live to both Facebook and YouTube at the same time. And I think it's awesome. We're gonna go on with this later on. We're gonna do more of this, and this is an invitation to invite any other person around to come in out, share with you the streaming key, and we'll be able to do this more for the industry, not for any individual promotion or anything, but for the industry, for people to be on the same page, to know what I know, what to see what this one sees. Cyprus, where he's doing great stuff. I am here in London, where I'm basically looking over the industry back home, and people are scattered all over the place, mostly back home in West Africa. And so, on behalf of Animation West Africa, thank you for you guys being there. And we're gonna do more of these live streams.
Mm-hmm.
Basically take it further and further. This has been an eye opener. We spent longer than we intended to spend on this,
Yeah.
but it's the first one is an eye opener. So we're gonna have it more regulated, more structured, and it's good that we can speak. Both of our voices can come inside the stream at the same time. So it's like a conversation, something I've always wanted to do, a kind of live stream thing, to now have a conversation over a live stream without having all the special gadgets to use, just basically YouTube streaming. And it's not necessarily a hangout, it's still a streaming. If you want to know how that is done, speak to us. We'll show you how it's done. But yeah, it's something I've always wanted to do, and then it's happening here now. So while you're showing something, somebody else is asking a question. I am basically asking a question, moderating the whole process. Where I mean, you are moderating it, but I'm just basically putting out questions and comments that helps you to, assume you're speaking to a third party and talk to them
Yeah.
in the way they can understand. So, thank you. You can sign up finally. This
Okay.
is you're running the live stream. You sign up finally, and let's see how it goes.
Okay. So thank you so much for this opportunity. Thank you to everyone that's watching. Anyone that's watching after now, thank you so much for taking your time to see this. And peace out.
Cheers, all. AWA. We can't go
Mhm.
wrong.
You
I am
can't go
away.
wrong.
No, we can't. Righty, man. Thanks for your time, man. And are we still live or are we not live anymore?
We're not.